So how did you guys come up with the idea for Eventbrite?
Sure.
Or maybe first, just in case people don't know, they probably do, but what is Eventbrite?
So Eventbrite is a way for anybody to become an event organizer and sell tickets to events online. And Kevin and I originally met in 2003, and we founded Eventbrite in 2006. And the idea was, we're really interested in transactional businesses, and the events industry the event ticketing industry in particular is a very stagnant market. So a huge industry, especially when you're talking about the long tail and about enabling, people to become event organizers. And so our approach is to disrupt this industry through technology. It's a very classic tale. We, of course, take inspiration from Salesforce and from Netflix and from those, very classic disruptive tales. But we looked at the industry of event ticketing as something that was ripe for disruption because there was no solution for anybody to sell tickets online. Typically, in the beginning, our competitors were people who used Excel spreadsheets and email or paper invites and checks. And so we really just, in the beginning, it was just the three of us. We put our heads down and started working on a product. We had an early adopter group of the tech community, and that's, holding tech events. And that's really what we use to springboard to this new platform that we've built.
So, maybe if you could help me understand sort of, it sounds like with both Zoom and Eventbrite that you sort of saw maybe an industry structure kind of that had, was ripe for disruption, let's say, or something like that, right? And so, like, my understanding of the industry, the ticketing industry, is that sort of there's the ticket masters and things, which is sort of the fat head. It's like the Britney Spears or something, I don't know what. Like, and then there's, I guess there's sports ticketing, and then there's StubHub and secondary market, and although that didn't really merge till like 2005 or 6 or something, right? And then, or at least get big, and then there's sort of the Evites and all these kinds of things, which are like sort of invite you to, but there's no transaction there.
Right.
Like, I think the first time I saw Eventbrite, I just thought, it was like another Evite thing. I didn't get it, obviously. But there's that sort of area, right? I mean, is that right. How do you guys see the structure of the industry, and like why, if there's such a giant white space, which seems to be like what you guys found, like why was everyone missing it? Like what changed?
Yeah, so the relation there is we like to think of the pyramid, and at the top is is Ticketmaster, and they're ticketing Lady Gaga shows, the big complex events, or the big sporting events, and the white space, or that area that's vastly underserved beneath that is really everything else. It's fundraisers, it's marathons, it's high school theater. It's this incredible range that almost when you go to, say, Etsy, or when you went to eBay originally, and you could imagine the type of things that were being sold, in the physical goods space. You think of that as all this interesting live experiences. And backing up a bit, really what we're thinking about is powering these live experiences. So if you take one analogous market, and that's the music market, for the millennium, artists used to make all their money off recorded goods. They used to sell CDs. Internet came, Napster, and so on, and demolished those economics. And now, post-millennium, people make their money touring. In a similar fashion, that applies to all different areas of media, sports, and so on. And so we're really capturing that long tail, that white space, and that is enormous space domestic, and very enormous internationally as well. Do you think you you think about things like Etsy you mentioned, or like it says, like a Kickstarter, or one of these other things, like do you think you kind of, obviously people had like marathons and things before, but maybe they weren't charging for them, or maybe if they did, they had spreadsheets. Are you actually enabling kind of, in a lot of these cases, to have events that are charged for that probably wouldn't have been too much of a hassle? And so in other words, you're actually creating kind of a new market as opposed to just sort of satisfying existing demand.
That's what excites us the most, is the enablement opportunity. There is a big, Ticketmaster will do about $8.5 billion in gross ticket sales. That's a fairly intricate part of ticketing. That's traditional ticketing, we call it, and it's almost a completely different business model from how we're approaching our market. And our market is enormous, and it's almost unknown when you talk about enablement, and that's what really excites us about this opportunity. And you asked about why wasn't anybody else doing it, and I think it's a confluence of factors, and I think timing played a big part in it as well, when you think about sort of e-commerce ticketing as well as social, and how that played a part in in this equation. And so, I think we look at the opportunity to help event organizers sell more tickets, and we're very focused on gross ticket sales on our volume, and less focused on the fees. And so we democratize ticketing by allowing people to sell tickets for very, very, very small fees. We're not bilking the customer or the ticket buyer.
And on the democratization side, when you talk about enabling markets, that's bands that can now have a house concert, show in their garage and be able to promote that to the world and have those tools that were only previously available to the big promoters, or cooking classes, or this wide variety of content is springing up, and that gives me goosebumps. It's exciting.